What's going on YouTube? Welcome to WestysAngling. Joining me and my dad today for a session on the River Ribble, as promised, sticking to natural venues for the next 3 weeks. We're going to be trying a few different swims today, but we've opted to start here. We're on the free stretch today and we're not even far from the car park, to be quite honest with you, but I've fished this stretch before and I did quite well off it. So me and my dad are going to spread out a little bit, and we're only going to be fishing with natural baits today as well. So we've got some worms, got some maggots, I've got some corn, and I've got some luncheon meat as well. The flow seems quite soft today. The river was up about 2 foot yesterday and it's gone back down, but it looks like it's nice levels. It's not absolutely surging through, so conditions are looking good. So hopefully get a few fish on the bank, fishing for absolutely anything that bites today. So hoping for some nice chub, maybe a couple of days, something like that. So we'll see how we get on. My dad's fishing here, I'm fishing a little bit further down. Let's get into it, folks. First thing I need to do before I go and get set up is mix some bait up for me and my dad. So I've literally got a load of leftover pellets and ground bait here, even some half boilies and stuff like that from carp sessions. So that's what I'm going to be using, keeping it cheap. There's a lot of bait there, obviously. I'm not sure if we're going to go through all this today, but I'll definitely try my best, get as much bait out there as possible, and hopefully bring some chunky river barbel into the swim if we're very lucky, or at least chub. So I'm going to get some water in this and I'll get it mixed through. You're struggling today, aren't you, Dad? He's suffering with his sciatica, or what do you think it is, sciatica? And he's booked in at physio, but if he's quiet today, that's why he's definitely struggling. I've told him he can give it a miss if he wants, but he just wants to get out. So let's see if I can get down here and get some water without falling in. Oh, and quite a lot of water in there. It's probably about right. Probably about right, that, to be honest. Because there's pellets in there as well that will absorb some of that water. Absolutely eyeballed it and nailed it. You brought a towel, Dad? I think I forgot my towel, folks. That'll be alright for the cage feeder. I think we'll be good there. We'll let that absorb some water. It'll break down really slow in the feeder, that, because of all the pellets and stuff, but it's kind of what you want. I don't really want it to wash downstream. I kind of want it to stay in the feeder as long as possible and be near the hook length and the hook bait. Right, let's have a wander down to our swim, folks. So like I said, we're going to be trying a few different swims, but I quite like this one. I'm going to start on a 4-ounce feeder, probably 3/4 of the way across. Alright, let's get set up. Will be sturdy enough, I think. I've already got my feeder rod set up in a bag. I literally just need to clip a feeder on, put a hook length on, and we're good to go. Very, very simple setup here, folks. I've got a little bit of a buffer bead there, and then I've got a Corum quick change bolt bead, which will just help kick that hook length away from the feeder. I like that it's a little bit longer. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be using. Nice and simple. I've got some hook lengths tied up. I've got one tied up with 9-pound Guru Engage and a size 10, and I've got one tied up with 12-pound and a size 8. I think that's 12-pound and a size 8. Should have labelled them. We're going to need a baiting needle, to put worms on the quick change stop. So I'm going to put that in my front pocket here so I don't lose it. In fact, I'll put it on here. And we're going to need one of our big cage feeders. Let's start off with one rod and see what's going on in the swim first. Can you see how that bolt bead just kicks it away from the feeder? We've got some big old worms there. That's what we're going to start off on, I think. A worm or half a worm. Let's get a slug as well. You're going in, pal. Sorry, mate. Shouldn't be in my bag. Right, folks, let's get a hook bait on. Absolutely huge, these worms. Probably a bit big. And take our baiting needle into that speed stop, into the worm, and there we go. Keep that baiting needle safe because that's the only one I've got, and I'll absolutely load this feeder up. It's going to take it a while to wash all this out, but that's kind of what you want. It's going to be dropping bits out all the time. So let's get down here. I'm going to cast upstream. Make sure it drags right. Let a little bit of line out. And that's the setup there, folks. We've cast upstream. Got a nice little bend in that rod tip. Rod pod is fairly secure, I think. Let's come this way a bit. Oh. I must admit, folks, I do absolutely love river fishing. So obviously that excitement about not knowing what you're going to get. If we don't get any indications in the first half an hour, then we'll move spots. And as a lot of you probably know, when it comes to river fishing, especially on a big tidal river like the Ribble, you've got to be on the fish, folks. So like I said, if I don't get anything in the first half an hour or so, say the first half an hour to an hour, and we'll probably move spots and we'll try this swim again later this afternoon. The river's just slightly pushing through today. We've also got some pepper army, folks. Let's cut some of this up. Big chub sized pieces. I've got some liquid additives here, folks, as well. I've got some pure liver and pure krill. Well, that sun is coming up behind me. I'm going to be absolutely sweltering in these waders today. Right, I've just swapped onto Pepper Army, smaller piece. See how we get on. Well, folks, I'm pretty confident that there's nothing going on in this swim. Got both out on the feeder, and other than one knock, I've not had any kind of indications. Might have just had a little twitch then. So I think it's probably worth us moving further upstream, and we'll see if we can find out where they're at. So I've learned that most of the time when you're fishing on the river, the bites are really aggressive. Even off silverfish like, you know, dace and chub, they'll really slam that rod tip down, and you might get little plucks and things like that from very, very small fish, but you definitely know if you've got a bite. Even on fairly heavy duty rods like these. So if you're wondering what rods I'm using the Grace Prodigy PB barbel rods. Well, we're going to give here a go, folks. Big expanse of sandbanking going down. I'm probably going to fish it towards the further edge. Oh god, I'm sweating. Right, let's get a rod out. I think I'm going to have one shallow and one further out. I think it's deeper down that back edge. Let's have a go. Chance of anything here, bream or roach. Just changed the battery in my GoPro. Oh. Got my flask as well so I can have a brew. Gasping. Right. Let's get a rod further out towards that back edge. Try and sit on this sandy embankment here. That'll do it. That's slow going so far, folks. My dad's got a slightly lighter setup than me. Maybe we should have accounted for maybe having to target smaller fish. I've got lighter feeders and it wouldn't take me long to tie up some size 12 hooks or even smaller if I thought there was small fish in the swim. So if we do start getting little knocks, little bumps, and we know that there's small stuff in the swim, then we can always do that. But gotta try all areas, folks. They could be really close in here in the shallow water. They could be further out near the deeper flow. All depends on the conditions of the river, I guess. I can see fish topping. Egret here, folks. Little egret, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Just got my phone out because you probably can't see this on the GoPro, but the water is absolutely stuffed with little fry. My dad reckons at the dace, but in my opinion this is what the perch and the pike and the chub will be feeding on, all these little fry. It's thick with them. It's a shame about my dad's back. I can tell he's not fully enjoying the session. Must be proper bothering him. I've got a feeling because the river's so low today that the fish might have pushed a bit further out just into the deeper water. I've got one on maggots, one on worms, and I think that's going to give us our best chance. If you don't take maggots or worms, I don't think they're going to take pepper army or luncheon meat, but I'll have one more cast on the worm. If I don't get anything on that, then I'll swap that rod onto the pepper army, I think. Keep maggots on the other one. But if I don't get a bite further out, again I'll swap it up. Smaller feeder, and I might even tie up a shorter hook length as well, or shorten this hook length to maybe like a foot. Because at the minute I'm at 2 foot, 2.5 foot, something like that. Which is, could be a bit long. Oh, and little twitches on the right hand rod. That's a bite. Are we in? Or did I miss it? I missed it. Damn. Yeah, I knew it. They're in the deeper water towards the back channel. Right. That was on worm, that as well. Now, it'd be very easy for me to swap both onto worm. But let's just keep one on worm for now. There's an half decent bite, that, folks. Well, this video definitely won't be as entertaining as the old commercial fisher is, but this is what you wanted. You wanted me to have a bit of a challenge, and that's what you're getting. Well, I'm in, folks. Not sure what it is. It's a little eel. It's a little eel. Well, save the blank. That's the smallest eel I've ever seen in my life. Thought it was a lamprey. Come on, you boy. I've got it. It's gone. Yeah, I'm in again. Don't think this is an eel. If it is, it's a bigger one. I don't know what this is. Little bream. Little skimmer. Oh, that's a nice skimmer, that, folks. Oh, on the mags. A lovely wild river ribble bream. Nice natural bream. Oh, get yourself back. Bream slime covered. Oh, I'm stuck. My dad said he's got a size 10 hook on it. We're thinking of going to a 14. I've found that when you're fishing on the river, you might as well fish with a bigger hook. I don't find that it puts the medium-sized fish off. You know, a decent roach or bream or dace or chub doesn't seem to put them off. So you might as well use a bigger hook. I am using micro barbed as well. So when you set that hook, chances of them coming off are very slim. And then at least you know if you hook something decent, like a carp or a barbel, you're not going to bend the hook out either. But yeah, the maggots are working. So let's stick with them. Both on this left-hand rod. So I might move both my rods around this side. It's took them a little bit of time to warm up. I wonder if it's because it's coming up to that tide change. Who knows? Speculating. Let's have another brew. It's a nice fish, that. Oh, is it a perch? My God, I thought it was a big roach. Hold it up, Dad. Let's have a look at it. What an absolute beauty, Dad. Just want something bigger now. Decent chub, or I don't even know if you get barbel in this stretch or not. I believe that pretty much everything comes out of church deeps, barbel, carp. Bit of a knock on that. That was a bream bite, I think. On that left-hand rod again. Weird. Wonder if it's because of that overhanging tree and stuff. Just been talking to my dad, and I'm just saying, you know, what really is the point in scaling down when you're fishing on the river like this? I don't know if I'd get more bites if I scaled down, but I seem to be getting small fish as well as big fish, you know, with this fairly heavy duty setup with the 4-ounce lead and the you know, the size 8 hooks. So what's the point in scaling down? You might as well fish heavier. That way, if you do hook into a barbel, then you've got more chance of getting it in, or even a big river carp, you know what I mean? Which would be an absolute massive rarity, but you never know. That's the fun bit about river fishing, you just genuinely never know what you're going to get on the next cast. Feels like another bream. Or maybe a roach. Giving some head bumps. Yeah. Definitely a nicer fish, I think. Fighting. Yes, another bream. I'm in the bream swim. Oh, they've got some fighting on these river bream, I tell you. Let's put it on this grass. I have got my unhooking mat with me, but oh, it's got a bit of disease on it, that. It's been attacked by something, or it's a bit of disease maybe. There we go, that's that out. Another nice size one. There's a bit of disease on that one, but I told my dad not to get lobworms and he's come back with lobworms, but I think they mixed it up in the tackle shop and not give him dendrobinas. So, got absolutely giant worms. Oh dear. Funny. Yeah, they've definitely had you over there, Dad. They probably didn't have any dendrobinas left. And he's thought, right, we're giving this sucker some lobworm. £3, I can see. It's alright, Dad, I'll get day ticket today. On the free stretch. Funny. Oh, I'm just having a lie down on the sand and be absolutely covered. It's so strange how I've not had a fish on that right hand rod. All of them have come from the left hand rod, even when I've moved them both further around to the left. But the left hand rod is the one with maggots on, so it could be that. Just put worm back on the right hand rod, hoping for a big perch or something. They definitely are in here. Well, for those of you that are following the channel, you'll know that I'm fairly new to river fishing, and I've never fished the river in these conditions where it's been fairly low and very slow moving, and it's hard to know what spots to fish in the different conditions. So obviously we're taking a stab in the dark at this, and I've managed a few fish, so we must be doing something right. But it's my intuition that obviously when it's low and slow like this, they'll probably be in the deeper water. So I know for a fact there's a deep channel here that runs all the way down the back end, as I've said. So that is where I think fish will probably be holed up. Now it seems to be on this stretch, everybody seems to walk past these pegs and go further down over the farmers' fields and stuff like that. Now you might be able to tell me if there's better spots down that way for those of you that fish the free stretch of the ribble often. And I've never quite made it down that far, and we won't be going any further down today because my dad's back. But what I might do is come on my own later this week, travel a little bit lighter and go right the way down the other end of the river and then work my way back. I know that there's definitely better swims at better times of day as well, depending on the tides. And I think closer to the car park end is probably better for barbel and chub over the rocky gravel parts than it is over in this sandy banking. I don't think this is the right type of swim for barbel. Now, it's not to say that they won't move through here and they might snaffle a bit of bait up on the way, but I don't think it's preferred barbel habitat. Very carpy, I must admit, church deeps, deep water and sandy banking, plenty of feed. I reckon this is great for perch, and pike, because the amount of small fry that I've seen round here in the margins on this sandy bank is it's just abundant, and I can see the fish busting up, so there's definitely pike or something in the margins, but I've nothing with me to target them. And you definitely need to bring a choice of baits as well, and have the ability to swap up and fish different methods, but obviously that means carrying more gear, so it's a play-off to it. It's very hard to know how to fish it, but I don't think I would ever scale down more than I have done today. I think I would rather fish heavy and target some of the bigger fish. Now obviously we've had bream and stuff like that, so they're the type of fish that I want to target. I'm not bothered about catching tiny little roach and dace and stuff like that. I'm not really interested in that kind of thing, you know. If I wanted to do stuff like that, I'd probably try trotting or on the pole or whatever, and I would probably fish further up that way towards the car park. And if you're fishing like that, I don't think there's much point in coming all the way down the river, because the small fish are going to be packed pretty much everywhere, I would have thought. But I always like to try and target some of the bigger stuff. It's just what interests me most. Definitely a specimen hunter at heart. But we're going to probably stick it out in this swim. We'll see what happens when the tide changes, and then towards the afternoon we'll go back into the first swim and see if any chub and dace have moved in, I reckon. But I'm going to recast now. I'm going to cast as tight to that far banking as I can. Hopefully there's no snags down there, and I'm going to see if that makes a difference. Got to try different things, folks. Got to mix it up if it's not working. But like I said, we've had a few fish. Not a disaster at all. I'm quite pleased with that. I don't know if I'm in or not. Good bite, a decent bite that. I had a feeling it'd be another eel. Oh god. It's slightly bigger than that last one. Catching little boot laces all day. Just call me the eel king. Little bastard's brought me up length. Oh, the buggers. How's it broken it? Twisting round of that. Got teeth as well, haven't they? Well, I've got it unhooked, yeah, worm. Brought me up length, little bugger. Oh dear. They call me the bootlace king. Amongst other things. As I thought would be the case, all my fish have been from that deep channel down the back where it's shaded. Shame I've not had anything better though, like maybe like a chub or... Fairly chuffed with them two eels though. Obviously it's not often that you catch stuff like that. I know a lot of you out there probably hate catching them, but just nice to catch something a little bit different. There's nothing better when you're fishing on the river than getting a decent bite where it proper slams your rod tip down. That feeling's great. Get such an adrenaline rush from that. Kingfisher. I think the only problem with natural baits is they quite often aren't durable. so it involves a lot of work, a lot of recasting, whereas with a boilie or pellet or something like that, they're a little bit more durable and they last ages on the hook, so you don't need to recast as often, which obviously gives fish a little bit more confidence to move in on your bait, I guess. Just had a couple of knocks on this right hand rod, just waiting for it to go again, and then there's definitely still something messing with it. There. Oh god, it feels like another eel. Huh. Well, it's not an eel, thank god, it's a little perch. Another species. Lovely little perch, folks. Unhooked itself in the net. Beauty. Oh. Put him down here, I can hoover some of these fry up. Oh, there must be perch in my swim now. That's the second little perch. Perfectly hooked. Right on the top of the lip. Ah, I just got spiked. And it's on back there. Look at that. Beauty. Lovely wild river ribble perch. That's 600 kilograms of bait to catch little eels and little perch. Still worth it. Just got to get through these small ones to the big ones, I think. Just need a big 4-pound perch to come up and slurp up that lobworm. No, it's a bream. Nice bream, Dad. Lovely river ribble bream. Nice size that, Dad. Catch him like that all day.
Pound and a half.
Pound and a half. That's £2 maybe. It's turning into quite a productive day. What a good few fish. What do we think, folks? Are we calling it a good day on the ribble? On the natural baits? You tell me, what do we think? He's in again, the boy. Another bream, I think. Let's have my lobworm away this time. Oh, a decent enough stamp. Yeah, roach. Other species. Fish on, folks. Another little perch. I'm pretty sure that we would have carried on catching small fish in this swim right into afternoon, but I've just said to my dad, does he fancy having a walk sort of back to the car and trying the gravel swim again, and see if we can maybe get something a little bit better. So that's what we're going to do. It's on the way back to the car anyway, so not too much of a hassle. And we'll see if I can maybe get a chub or a decent dace or something like that. We'll see. I don't know what it is, but you can see the crease line better. I just want to be on the edge of that crease. Well, I tell you what, folks, I've enjoyed the challenge today. I would have liked to have caught something a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit better, but that's just the way it goes, isn't it? It's such a big river, this, that the fish could literally be anywhere. And where you've had a good session in the past doesn't mean that you're going to have a good session again. That's why I think it's important to stay mobile and try a few different swims. But we've not been quite as mobile as I wanted to be today, obviously because of my dad's back. Just had a bit of a knock on the worm on the right hand side there. Definitely. Well, folks, I think we're going to call it a day there and get packed up, start making our way back down to the car. But I hope you've enjoyed this session on the natural venue, feeder fishing on the mighty river ribble, fishing for literally anything that swims. It's been well worth this little move because my dad's had quite a few fish down the bank there. He's about 20 metres down the bank, so I haven't filmed them, but he's had quite a few smaller fish. It's been quite unproductive. I was hoping for a chub or a couple of dace or something like that down here, but it just wasn't meant to be. I've had a pretty enjoyable session. We've got a few fish on the bank. I've caught unusual fish that I wouldn't normally catch in coarse fisheries, eel, perch, that kind of thing. We've caught a few bream, decent stamp as well, and let's face it, any fish on a northern river is a good session, isn't it? So I really can't complain with how today's gone. If you've enjoyed it, like I said, like, subscribe, comment if you've got any questions about anything that I've done today. If you can suggest any other good swims on the ribble, feel free to message me privately if you don't want to put it in the comments, and I'll be happy to check them out. So I just want to say thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next Westys Angling, folks.